all signs reading. Let's see, what this full moon really brought in with you, or brought in for you. Right? And this last week we had the full moon in Gemini. And I feel like we're discovering like other sides of shit, right? Other sides of ourselves. You know, really tapping into like what it is that we actually want. I've noticed like, you know, a lot of the times people have a lot of complaints about the way life is going. You know, I mean, kind of in the field of, I'm like the HR for your complaints, you know. And one thing I've noticed though is that like the hyperfixation on the problem versus the hyperfixation on the solution, right? Um, I feel like if you're somebody who looks more towards solving problems rather than just dwelling in a problem, you know, you're going to get a lot further. If there's nothing you can do about something in your present tense, don't sweat it, right? Write it down, give it to the universe, and be like, yo, gangsta, hey, it's helped for me several times. Like almost every day. I feel like there's just, you know, there's a lot of untapped magic in the human race. I feel like should be tapped into, right? There's a lot of people feeling and acting as though like there's nothing they can do about changing their circumstances. And I challenge you to first start with your mindset, right? First start there. When you change your mindset, then everything changes, right? Start doing things different, react different, respond different. You know, like if you keep doing the exact same thing over and over, you're gonna get the exact same results. But if you start changing things, if you start responding differently, you start behaving differently, then like you'll notice like life starts changing for you, you know, because you're no longer in that energy. So, since I went on a whole tangent without even pulling any cards, I guess I'll pull some cards. So let's see. All right. Nephilim. Controversy. Assessing new perspectives. Flower of life. Inspiration, awe, and dreams. Right? So, the Nephilim really shows up. If you know anything about the Nephilim, I'm going to give you a little backstory. So, in the Hebrew Bible, whatever, the Nephilim were basically the offspring of like fallen angels with humans, right? And let's just say not every pairing with an alien has worked out well for the human race, right? The Nephilim are essentially the Neanderthals, right? And I feel though that you're very like multifaceted, right? And it's almost like you're caught in the in between, right? The in between land between feeling like you're not from here because you can't relate to shit, but also feeling like you're here for a reason, right? Um, so with the flower of life, I feel like you're you're building you're building your sense of belonging, right? Understanding that just because you're not from a place doesn't mean you don't belong in a place, right? Like I moved here from California, and I learned really quickly that just because I, you know, started my trek in California does not mean that that was where I was meant to be or meant to end up, right? So like I feel like even if you have a sense of, you know, struggling to find where you fit or where you belong. Like, that's something that, um, that's something that you have to establish for yourself, right? You have to find your soul tribe, right? Find your sense of belonging. When you find your soul tribe, then you're like, oh fuck, this makes sense. Like, I'm quantum entangled with all these people that matter so much, you know. And it's like, it's such a beautiful thing. I love it. So. Alright, right off the bat, I'm seeing the Muse of Emotions, right? This card really indicates to me somebody who's on a twin flame journey, whether they like it or not. Right? This has to do with, your, like if you notice, it's two twins with water pouring out of their heart chakras, right? Water represents love and emotions, depth, in tarot. I feel like you're feeling inspired, right? With the Flower of Life, inspired. Queen of Pentacles in reverse tells me one of two things. One, you could probably be having financial struggles. Happy holidays, right? It's usually the case around this time of year, though, and so it's not surprising to see that. Also, it's the energy of letting go, right? And kind of letting things come towards you. And the reason that I'm saying that is because I do see something coming towards you with the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is like good news or an offer. I'm going to tap into that. I want to know a little bit more about what this Knight of Wands is bringing you. Wands is usually communication, right? So... Okay, if you were feeling like you were lacking anything or like something wasn't working out for you, I feel like that's because of what's coming towards you. With the Four of Wands and the Seven of Wands, this is pretty interesting. Four of Wands really talks about, and I feel like I could be talking to a fire sign right now with all the wands, right? Wands are fire. But regardless, Four of Wands is about building a home, right? It could also talk about long-term relationships. A lot of people call it the marriage card, and I was calling it that for a while, but I realized in today's society, marriage is not actually like on everybody's plate, right? It's, and everybody's idea of it is so different. So I do feel this sense that you could be getting a new place, or you could be moving towards a pretty long-term solid relationship. With the Seven of Wands, this is carving out a new path. This is doing something different from what you were doing, right? I feel like we were talking about this. But this is about like choosing different actions, choosing the path less traveled, right? I feel like if you're somebody who's like, for instance, I feel like a majority of people I've been meeting lately are like, fuck relationships, I don't want them, da 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 da. So if you're in that mindset, you could be carving out a new path and kind of like compromising on your own desires for, well, I don't even like using that word compromising because it's not compromising. It's like evolving and being like, you know what, maybe it actually would be nice to have somebody, or maybe it would actually be nice to, I do feel like you're doing something out of your personal norm, right? Kind of putting yourself out there for something new. So, I do want to know if it's talking about a home or a relationship. I feel like that'll really help the direction of this reading, so let's find out. Are you moving towards a new home or a relationship? Or is it both? Let's see. I'm gonna let every card that needs to fall. Alright. Put all those in a pile. Ace of Swords. Taking action. Okay. Well, that reminds me of another card I saw in here. Ascendant. Ace of Wands, right? We've got two aces. This represents new beginnings. The Ace of Swords and Ace of Wands taking action for the Ace of Swords, right? And with the Ace of Wands, this is talking about a passionate new beginning, right? With the Moon in reverse and the Magician in reverse. I kind of like these cards showing up together like this. Because what I'm seeing in this energy is transparency, right? The Moon in reverse is like nothing's hidden, right? Because usually the moon in the upright is like something hidden coming to light, right? And I feel this energy of like nothing really needing to be hidden in the first place, especially with the Magician in reverse. I'm using my intuition to guide this as well, you know. The Magician in reverse talks about, well, think about a magician. Though they're very resourceful, they're illusionists, right? They create illusion for a living. They're there to deceive you, right? A magician never reveals their secrets. So having the magician in reverse with the moon in reverse, I'm feeling complete transparency, right? Nothing that needs to be like illuminated. It's like very open, honest communication, right? Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups is in her feelings, bro. I knew it was about love. I knew it. Yeah, Queen of Cups though is very emotionally intelligent. Somebody who is on top of their emotions, that responds well. Somebody who's, but I do feel this energy of being in your emotions, right? She's not above the water. She's not above her emotions. She's like full ass in the water, full ass in her emotions. So I do feel like you're being confronted with new feelings. New feelings can be scary and awesome. I think they're more awesome than scary. I feel like if once you've been hurt once in your life, like the fear of being hurt again is kind of like meh, whatever. It's like having the courage to like really step out and like allow yourself to experience something, allow yourself to be a little vulnerable, and even transparent. I feel like the way that you communicate in this connection is different too from how, like with the Seven of Wands, it's different. It's a different way of communicating, a different way of being open, probably way different from what you've experienced in past relationships. Five of Pentacles in reverse. I like seeing this in reverse. This is kind of like saying that you won't be left out in the cold or left feeling alone or abandoned, whatever lack mentality there could potentially be. I feel like that's not really on the list of probabilities here. It's like saying you won't be disappointed. And I do feel like if you're worried about money concerns, I don't feel like that's going to be a concern for much longer. Yeah, Ten of Pentacles, right as I was saying it, bro. Ten of Pentacles shows up. This tells me that you will be very financially abundant, right? And you're going to learn how to be really good at handling your money, right? Ten of Pentacles also talks about resourcefulness within your community and like really, building bonds and connections to that. Queen of Wands, bro. I like this. Queen of Wands is got a lot of queens on the board. I am talking to a divine feminine, whether you're male or female. You're a creator. You're an artist of some sort. Queen of Wands is somebody who's the most envied queen in the whole deck, right? This is somebody who lives their personal truth, right? This is somebody who feels more in alignment with themselves when they walk the path of what's true for them, right? And this is also somebody who honors their feelings, right? Especially with the Queen of Cups. Honoring your feelings, being real about your feelings. If you feel something, you're not gonna just like act childish about it, right? You're gonna confront it head on and be like, why am I feeling this? And how deep does this go? You know? Seven of Pentacles, I do see abundance coming towards you, right? I see doors of opportunities opening up for you. And if you're looking for a new job or you're hoping for that, I do see it's a pretty good indicator that you're going to have that pretty quickly. If you're looking for a raise or promotion, that's also, it looks like that could be. If you think about the way flowers represent abundance in tarot, you've got a lot of flowers showing up, right? Something's growing for you, right? Something's blooming for you. Temperance in reverse, Sagittarius energy. Now, the Queen of Wands is very patient. You might be somebody who's not super patient, but also with the Temperance being in reverse, to me, it's kind of like saying that your time of waiting is over, right? There's no more waiting. There's no more wishing and hoping that something will happen, right? This is like, okay, here goes nothing. So if you were waiting for something, I feel like the time of waiting is up, right? I would say in your present situation, you might be facing a tower reaching. Oh my god. Let me stop spazzing out for a second in my brain. I've not had enough coffee today. You're gonna have a tower moment, right? Or you're going through a tower moment. With the Ace of Cups in reverse, it's because I feel like this tower moment is directly linked to your confidence. I feel like if you've been struggling in that area, something's gonna like kind of do a shake up in your life. I love the tower card, right? The tower card is like the number 555. To me, it means change is inevitable. Your life is going to be shook up. Life as you've known it is not going to be what life is now, right? It can feel like a lot. It can feel like a whole challenge, but I feel that ultimately you're coming out of this pretty well. Because yeah, with the Fool in reverse here, you're not doing anything foolish or impulsive. Even with, life could fall apart all around you, and you're not going to allow that to pull you out of your character, your moral value, right? So I do feel like that could be your present tense, right? Because especially with the Queen of Pentacles showing up as your first card, I do feel like there's a sense of letting go of something or life being shaken up for you. Sometimes things need to be shook so that things can fall into place, Then we have Page of Cups and the Lovers. So I feel like you could be receiving an offer pretty soon. The Lovers, since the Muse of Emotions has come out, I want to talk about that for a second. Or should I hold it like this? But yeah. So I didn't see the Two of Cups, right? Which is not a bad thing. But what I'm seeing here is divine counterparts because the Lovers is Gemini energy and it represents the twins, right? That's what Gemini is represented by, twins. It's the polarities. And with the Lovers being a major arcana card, not a minor arcana card, this talks about a huge life event, right? Something very impactful. Um, so I do see divine counterparts showing up. I see somebody who can feel you, who can, um, who really resonates with you, right? The way that their heads are kind of lit up, it's like they're communicating even from that distance. They could be sitting in silence, and there's this sense of understanding one another, being able to feel each other's energy from distances. It's quantum entanglement. That's what it is. So I do feel like that could be a scary leap. That could be a scary leap to allow yourself to be vulnerable like that. That in itself could be a tower moment for you, right? That in itself could be like, oh fuck. Because when emotions show up out of fucking nowhere, that shakes shit up, right? Like you don't just experience something like that without a shakeup, right? Like anytime I fall in love, like literally, I got a crush once, and like I was sitting at the bar and with my sister, and I had to go sit outside and I drew pictures for like 2 hours because I was like stroking out. I was like, how do I handle feelings? Like I'm just supposed to deal with that. I'm just supposed to feel this, like gross. But honestly, it was very like that's how I do it though. If I have a strong feeling, I'm like I need to consult all my ancestors. I need to sit alone. I need to figure some shit out. Um, and so I do get this feeling. When I get this feeling, I need sexual healing. No, I'm kidding. But no, I do have this feeling though, like that you're gonna be confronted with uncomfortable emotions, but that doesn't mean that they're bad emotions. They're just gonna be kind of jolty. You're gonna be like, oh fuck, like being struck by lightning. That's what catching feelings is like, right? It's terrifying. Probably the scariest shit in the world, right? Like I get it. Two of Swords tells me that you're very guarded, right? You protect your heart. Hold on to your heart. Yeah, but also that's about making big decisions, right? Life altering decisions. That's what these major arcana are really here to really illuminate, these life altering events that happen, right? We have the Hierophant, Taurus energy. I feel like you're in this state of learning and growing from this experience. There's something to be learned and understood. We have Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles tells me that you do really well on your own, right? Or you've probably been on your own for a minute. You know how to be independent. You're not seeking a connection for codependent reasons, right? You're not a hobosexual. You're not like just with somebody for a place to stay, and you're not you know, just with somebody for money. It's like you are somebody who's authentic. If you have a real connection, you want a real connection. You don't want something that's artificial. Three of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles is like a connection made through money. I feel like you might be hanging out with coworkers or roommates in the near future. I feel like they're gonna really help you connect the dots on this. Like you might be seeking guidance from your friends. They're gonna really help you like make sense of your feelings, right? Like sometimes we need that. We need somebody to be the voice of reason. Like, is this something I should do? Da 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 da. You know, whatever. Six of Wands in reverse tells me that you don't feel like noticed or like you don't get recognition. But I want to clarify that. Six of Wands in reverse. Three of Swords in reverse. If you're wondering, I'm not catching that this Lovers card is about a past person coming back. I'm going to tell you, if you're hoping for a past person to come back, no. Don't. Say good day. Goodbye. Right? That's because what I'm seeing here is you're really focused on the fact that somebody who broke your fucking heart isn't paying attention to you. Let them not pay attention to you, right? If they broke your fucking heart, goodbye. So, and maybe that's something that you're also like probably talking to your friends, consulting your friends about is, you know, like how do I connect after something like that, right? And you have to understand no two connections are the same. It's actually rather easy to move on. Although I say that as a single person, but what I mean though is like that the Three of Swords in reverse and the Six of Wands in reverse. You were with somebody in the past who didn't appreciate you, wasn't attentive, right? You felt emotionally neglected and loved, and it hurt. And you could just be really focused on that or talking about that, which I recommend. Don't do it. Also, there's this energy. Sorry. Yeah, there's also this energy though that like you could just be in the mindset of like comparing and contrasting like one situation with another. You don't want to compare people, right? No two people are going to be the same. No two connections are going to be the same. So overall, what else does Spirit want you to know before I close this out? Yeah. The High Priestess talks about your intuition, right? We had the moon come out, didn't we? Somewhere. Yeah, right there. You have both Pisces cards. So could be dealing with Pisces, could be a Pisces yourself, who knows? With High Priestess showing up though, it's telling me that you're very intuitive. And you need to really listen to your gut. You need to really trust your gut. Ten of Swords tells me that if a situation is dead and over, if a cycle has completed, don't reopen that, right? I feel like this message it's coming out pretty strongly. Like if you've got a really toxic ex trying to come back, don't do it. Somebody who betrayed you or left you feeling defeated, Don't do it. um, I do feel, I feel like you're being called to somebody else, right? Somebody new, somebody who fits. So, let's see. I feel like, especially with the Hierophant and the High Priestess showing up, also kind of divine counterparts, right? Very spiritually blessed and guided people. What I'm seeing is seek guidance from like your ancestors, right? There's memories held in your DNA. You can tap into shit. If you need answers, don't be afraid to ask, right? If you're scared or concerned about a situation, if you have to think too hard about something, then the answer is no, right? That's a good way to learn with your intuition. If the answer isn't right away a yes, then the answer is no. If I feel like certainty is the most important aspect of making these big life-altering decisions, and if you're not certain about a person or situation, then what the hell are you doing pursuing it? You know. So yeah, I do feel like you're being called to really listen to that. Listen to your gut. If you feel like you really need to know, what's right, ask yourself, right? What is right? Is this person right for me? If you catch yourself really thinking way too hard about it, likelihood is they're probably not. Everybody that I've met that has met their twin flame, right? Or that is in union with their divine counterpart. Everybody that I've met in that situation, they were certain from the moment they met them. They were certain day one, right? Like, I have this friend, I was just talking to him the other day about him and his wife, and he's like, yeah, I wanted to be single, I wanted to, do my thing, and then he said he met his wife, and 2 weeks later, he's like, let's get married, like, so, I feel like when you meet somebody that's right for you, or if you're in a situation that's right for you, then you're going to know that right away. It's like, it's a hell yes or it's a hell no, right? Um, so, and that's only one occasion where I've heard of that. Like, I've heard several people who are like, oh, the second I met them, I knew. And then those are always the couples that are together for like 40, 50 years, like, even longer probably. And that's something to really take note of, Certainty is the most important thing when it comes to connections, right? And I don't mean you have to be certain about like deciding to be in a relationship right away, but I feel like when you've met the one and you feel like you've met the one, you're like 100%, I don't want to let this opportunity slip. The likelihood of you letting that opportunity slip is slim because you're going to be like, you know what, I'm going to actually show up for this. I'm going to actually put in work. I'm going to set my intention and I'm going to be very clear about my intentions. So, yeah. Dumavati. Certain endings are unavoidable. They are necessary precursors to radical reinvention. Any disappointment, defeat, or loss and the negative repercussions of such experiences will not limit your future happiness, but are opening up yet unrecognized pathways for fulfillment. Your trust must be conditional or unconditional at this time, and later you shall see that everything has worked out for the absolute best. Trimanagmo. The spiritual cleansing and protective means necessary to overcome any obstacle shall be granted to you. You can trust in what is happening in your life, especially the things that are breaking apart or rising anew. Any pain that you might be experiencing now is so much less than the pain that would have taken root if certain circumstances were allowed to continue. Yeah, I feel like this has been kind of a trend with this, things breaking apart and starting anew. But like I said, with the tower moment, I do feel like something in your life is coming apart, right? I do feel like it's kind of present tense. I feel like you're really discovering the truth about a situation or about what you want. And you have to let it shake it up, right? It's like it's like having sand, right? And you've got one of those sand sifters. You're at the beach and you just like dig it in and you're sifting through, right? You're not going, like, the sifter is there to separate what doesn't belong from what does, right? And that's kind of what's happening as a sifting in your life, right? Anything that isn't also gold is going to fall away, okay? Um, so trust in what is coming to an end and trust what it's leading you towards. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have for you. Namaste. I love you guys, and I will catch you later.